Hi everyone, it's Rman here, and today I will tell you why Brave Baldr is the best Brave in this CYL and convince you by analyzing all Brave heroes individually and comparing their strengths and weaknesses. So, I say Brave Baldr is the best Brave in this CYL just for one reason. She does her job the most consistently. Brave Byleth is designed as a speed-based omni-tank, but he cannot tank the Black Knight or even young Camilla. And even if you change his role to a melee nuke, he still cannot kill the Black Knight consistently enough. So he is out of the question. And Brave Eikthyrnir is very good. However, he is hard countered by young Camilla. So he still faces a lot of problems as well. And finally, Brave Sharena is very good as a crazy Gale Forcer. However, she is hard countered again by the Black Knight equipped with Erica Ray because she cannot defeat the Black Knight. However, Brave Baldr is not stopped by anyone. Brave Baldr can kill the Black Knight with ease and with minimal support, and she can kill literally all fire saves that exist in this game, unless those fire saves are really heavily supported or your Brave Baldr is not supported well enough. So therefore, Brave Baldr is just the most consistent in fulfilling her duty of as a range nuke. And if you're still not convinced, then keep watching so that I can change your mind. So let's talk about Brave Byleth first, and I will do a quick recap on the Brave Byleth's skills and his unique features so that you'll remember what Brave Byleth can do. Brave Byleth is a sword infantry and is designed as a speed-based omni-tank, and he has very good true damage at about max 47 or even higher if you merge him up, and he also has a maximum of about 37 flat DR plus 40% unpierceable DR, which is crazy, and he can tank a lot of stuff in this game. However, young Camilla is a thing, and he definitely can't tank young Camilla. And moving on, Brave Byleth also has no follow-up, time post free, and a new status, Professor's Guidance, and he also gives all these statuses to allies within free spaces and himself, of course. And the new status, Professor's Guidance, gives the twin save effect, so it helps Brave Byleth tank even more enemies by triggering the unpierceable DR in his special twice in one combat. And he also has potent 100%, distant counter, no debuffs, bulwark, etc., and some healing, which makes Byleth more tanky and survive more enemy attacks. And finally, his most unique feature is his style, the Sublime Heaven style. And this style is crazy because it allows Brave Byleth to attack at free range, just like Summer Celica's Echo style. Therefore, if you give Brave Byleth +1 movement, he will suddenly have the same range as Summer Celica. As a free range, you can walk free range with Brave Byleth if you give him movement +1 by using Brutal Tempest, the C skills, or even just equipping the Sigurd Ring on Brave Byleth. You can give Brave Byleth free movement, and he can, with his style, the Sublime Heaven style, he can become another Summer Celica, but he is doing melee damage, so that is usually better. And he also gets extra true damage if the foe is a dragon or a beast. And he also has a new B skill, the No Sea Avoid, which is very good because it is, other than the Lagoose Friend 4 or Lagoose Loyalty skills, it is the first B skill for infantries that gives flat DR based on speed. And it also has no CD built in, so it is the perfect skill for speed-based omni-tanks like Fallen Male Alir, for example, who has Miracle, and he would very much want to have this new no-see avoid skill, but that is not the main focus of this video. So basically, Brave Byleth is a great Omni tank. However, he is Omni tanks are in a tough spot in this game because there are crazy melee nukes like young Camilla, who is a bit too powerful, I admit, but she exists. And there are also some other crazy melee nukes that are released in the game, like maybe Summer Lapis, some Groom Seliph, or harmonized Tea Time Ingrid just from the Tea Time banner, and even just the legendary Black Knight. And all of these have Brave Byleth cannot deal with consistently, because either they have very good true damage and can just nuke Brave Byleth in 2 hits with the Eikthyrnir or Brave attacking support, and basically Brave Byleth may not have enough true damage to kill the legendary Black Knight if you use him as a melee nuke instead of an Omni tank. And Brave Byleth really just faces a lot of problems because young Camilla exists, and frankly, legendary Black Knight exists in this game. And if those 2 units did not exist in the game, then sure, Brave Byleth is crazy and he can tank almost anyone in this game except for maybe Hresvelgr, Mythic Hresvelgr, who has unlimited true damage as well, but you probably don't see her very often. But she exists in this game as well, so Omni tanking really is in a tough spot when you have units that do unlimited true damage. So basically, if you want to Omni tank well, you basically need to be like Fallen Male Alir, who has Miracle built in, so that they can tank some melee nukes even though they have unlimited true damage. For example, young Camilla mainly, and the Mythic Hresvelgrs. So because Brave Byleth does not have Miracle built in his kit, he doesn't really function that well as an Omni tank, just because there are nukes that do unlimited true damage in this game. And frankly, Brave Byleth has enough true damage to sometimes kill the Black Knight, but if the legendary Black Knight is well supported, or maybe legendary Black Knight has Miracle built in, then Brave Byleth probably just loses to the Black Knight matchup. So frankly, if you want to use Brave Byleth as a melee nuke, he is still not consistent enough, because he cannot kill the legendary Black Knight if the opponent uses the legendary Black Knight as a near save. So that's another potential problem that Brave Byleth may face in the future. However, it should be noted that Brave Byleth has free range just like Summer Celica, and even though we were kind of sleeping on Summer Celica, we thought that Summer Celica is not a great unit, but when in fact Summer Celica is quite good because of her crazy range, and people always need to keep her range in mind, because Summer Celica has crazy range, and if the opponent has the undefended status, then all of your team can basically die because of the crazy range Summer Celica has. And Brave Byleth has that style, so he will be relevant in the meta for quite a while, at least until his damage output falls off. But that should make him last for at least a few months, because 47 true damage is already quite high in this game. So moving on, let's move on to Brave Eikthyrnir, who is designed as a defense-based melee save, and he is also a colorless armored beast, and he has uncapped true damage and uncapped flat DR, but they are both based on stat bonuses among free spaces, among allies within free spaces of him, Eikthyrnir, just like dual morph. So basically, if you want your Eikthyrnir to tank, you need to position him. You need to position him like how you would position dual morph, because his tanking potential is based on stat bonuses among allies. So he is basically a dual morph, but has Savior built in his kit. And looking at the support effects that Brave Eikthyrnir gives the new status Fringe bonus, which is basically bonus double of 4, but 4 less stats. So basically, Brave Eikthyrnir can make your team stack even more stats, and that is very good to him, because mainly Eikthyrnir needs more stats in order to tank melee nukes. And he has built-in distant counter, hardy bearing, and barricade, which are both very important and very good skills to being a good savior, that can stop warping, that can have hardy bearing to stop the desperation effects of some melee nukes that rely on that, and it also has distant counter for him to tank the bow units and counterattack the bow units, because his niche is becoming a melee save, which also tanks dagger units and bow units. So he needs to have distant counter built in his base kit so that he can counterattack and defeat those melee units that are range 2, like a Tune Arm, for example. And he also gives the new status Magic Twin Save to an ally within 2 spaces with the highest res stat. So basically, Brave Eikthyrnir can make your team have 2 saviors at the start of turn, and you can choose which unit you want to become the far save of your team without actually equipping the far save C skill. So you can basically give dual morph the magic twin save status by pairing him up with Brave Eikthyrnir, and suddenly your team will have Brave Eikthyrnir as the melee save and dual morph as the magic savior. And if the magic units, or range nukes I should say, like the magic nukes in the game, like maybe the T Veronica from the latest banner, or other magic users, if they decide to attack your team, then dual morph will come in and vantage and destroy all range nukes that are using that are doing magic damage. So that is one way you can use Brave Eikthyrnir. And he also introduces the new C skill, which is basically what I just said, becoming a melee save that really just helps you tank the bow units and the dagger units as well. But you need to remember that the melee saves, the physical damage savior, does not tank the dragon units. So it does not. You have to remember what the physical savior helps you trigger savior. Like, you need to remember that the P save, the physical damage savior, does not help you against the dragon units. That is what I'm trying to say. And he also has the swap gate skill, so if you want the swap gate skill, you can definitely try and get him. But I think Brave Eikthyrnir's value as a unit is definitely better than fathering him off just for the swap gate skill, because frankly the swap gate skill is only giving you extra Canto 1 after you use swap, and the Canto 1 does not trigger even if you do other actions. So swap gate is just a decoration, and it's not very that useful. And all in all, Brave Eikthyrnir is an OP savior if you stack enough stat bonuses among your allies, just like how you would treat Dual Marth by giving more stat bonuses to your allies. And but one big major problem that Eikthyrnir has is that Brave Eikthyrnir cannot tank young Camilla, and that is his main problem, because as a melee savior, you need to tank almost all units in the game, at least all melee units or all physical damage units in the game. But young Camilla exists in this game, and Hrestravelgr also exists in the game, but Hrestravelgr has less range, and she does not have the crazy warping that young Camilla has, so young Camilla is more of a problem. But since young Camilla exists in this game, and IS will not nerf her whatsoever in the future, I think, so Brave Eikthyrnir is just hard countered by the very common young Camilla, and that is just very sad, because Brave Eikthyrnir can stack up a lot of stats, but he needs to stack up just so much stats in order to tank young Camilla consistently. But you can still use Brave Eikthyrnir in the modes like Summoner Duels, or maybe Arena, or maybe the Pawns of Loki if you like that mode. You can still use Brave Eikthyrnir in those modes, and Brave Eikthyrnir will likely tank young Camilla in those modes. However, young Camilla easily, almost always, destroys Brave Eikthyrnir in the mode Aether Race, because in Aether Race you basically have a team stacked up, and Brave Eikthyrnir typically is very close to a lot of allies, because he is a savior, and he needs to have more stat bonuses stacked up in order to perform his job as a savior, in order to tank, because his flat DR is based on stat bonuses among allies. So he 100% needs to be close to allies. And young Camilla's true damage is based on bonus effects within the foe and within 2 spaces of the foe that you decide to attack with, that you want to initiate combat with. So basically, if your Brave Eikthyrnir is close to other allies, then young Camilla has more true damage. So it's all so young Camilla almost always just finds a way to stack up more true damage than Brave Eikthyrnir's flat DR in the Aether Race mode, because all of your defense units are stacked up in the ball, and when your units are stacked up in the ball, like within 2 spaces of each other, then young Camilla gets more true damage. So young Camilla can easily defeat Brave Eikthyrnir in Aether Race, when compared to other modes where your units may not be as close to each other. So that's the main problem that Brave Eikthyrnir has, which is very unfortunate. And then we will talk about Brave Sharena. Brave Sharena is a really good Gale Force unit who has a lot of true damage. She is a green cavalry tome and a speed-based ranged nuke and a Gale Forcer, and she has a lot of true damage, which is maximum of about 47, and that does not include exposure. So Brave Sharena can do damage, but her main problem is that she has 0 flat DR and 0 unpierceable DR. So she is a glass nuke that will die automatically to everyone, just like Summer Selka, if you remember her. So Brave Sharena can do damage, but she cannot survive any enemy counterattacks, and that is the main problem. So Brave Sharena cannot kill any enemy far saves if they equip Hardy Bearing and equip Erica Ring. which is almost all fire saves do that if they are in Ether race defense. And her main game mode of the Gale Force effect is Ether race, but in Ether race there are fire saves that Brave Sharena cannot kill because they have equipped Hardy Bearing and Erica Ring. So Brave Sharena cannot be utilized to her full potential in the game mode that she is designed to be in, that is Ether race. And because Sharena's extra action needs to happen after Sharena initiates combat. And if the enemy fire save has Hardy Bearing and Erica Ring, then Sharena cannot survive after initiating combat unless she has Wind Sweep and she has any other support that makes her survive against enemy counterattacks, but that is very unlikely because she has 0 flat DR and she does have Miracle built in her base kit. But with Erica Ring, you ignore Miracle because the fire saves just do brave attacks and they just attack through your Miracle, and Brave Sharena will die if she initiates combat against a team with a good fire save that equipped with Hardy Berry and has brave attacks. So either you need to give Brave Sharena Wind Sweep, but also that will be stopped by enemy fire saves that have no C Disrupt built in their kit or have no C Disrupt support. So Brave Sharena's main problem is that she cannot initiate combat if the Ether Race enemy team has a good fire save. And if she cannot initiate combat, she cannot give out her Gale Force effect because her Gale Force effect needs to happen after Brave Sharena initiates her combat, and she will dance herself and an ally within 3 spaces after they initiate their combat, and it re-enables Kanto for herself as well. So if Brave Sharena cannot initiate combat, then she cannot give the extra action to herself, and she cannot give the extra action. They cannot get the extra action unless they are within 3 spaces of Brave Sharena. So the other ally who doesn't have Gale Force built in their base kit can or does not get an extra action immediately after their initiated combat can still get the extra action from Brave Sharena, but they need to be within 3 spaces of Brave Sharena, and Brave Sharena would not be able to get her Gale Force effect unless the enemy fire save is defeated. So Brave Sharena can still do her Gale Force, can still get an extra action even if she did not initiate combat. She can still, even if she hasn't defeated an enemy unit before, she can still get her extra action afterwards. Like after, even though she can get her Gale Force. Basically, she can get her Gale Force any time, even as long as it has not been triggered before that turn. Once, because her Gale Force is once per turn. So Brave Sharena has her value as a Gale Force unit because she gives an extra action to an ally, and she also gets an extra action herself if she has initiated combat before. But my main problem with Brave Sharena is that she individually cannot defeat enemy far saviors, so she needs an extra either range nuke or a potent melee nuke that can defeat the enemy far savior, such as the legendary Black Knight. My main concern is just defeating the enemy far saviors with any of your units. any of your melee units. So what I'm trying to say is that Brave Sharena cannot give her Gale Force support if the enemy team has a good far save, like, or an unkillable far save, such as the legendary Black Knight, and paired with Freyr, who cleanses undefended statuses. So that way, Brave Sharena cannot initiate combat, and she needs to wait until an ally defeats the Black Knight uh, before her Gale Force really comes alive. So basically, Brave Sharena needs support in order to perform her Gale Force action, or Brave Sharena needs someone that can kill the enemy saviors in order to really shine as a Gale Force unit. So basically, Brave Sharena needs support, extra support, in order for her to reach her maximum Gale Force potential. So Brave Sharena is still a very good unit because she can give extra actions to other units. However, her consistency is just less consistent when compared to Brave Baldr. And finally, we will talk about Brave Baldr as a unit. So Brave Baldr has a lot of true damage, and she has, what really makes her shine is that she also has a lot of flat DR, just like her mythic version, and she is a blue bow flyer and a speed-based range nuke that has about a maximum of about 42 true damage, and that excludes exposure. And as a range nuke, that is very high. And considering that Brave Baldr can get brave attacks as long as the enemy has exposure active, so 42 true damage with a brave weapon is very good, and she can already defeat a lot of enemy far saves just by having brave attacks and 42 true damage. However, to add on to her ridiculous true damage, considering that she has brave attacks most of the time, she has maximum of 32 flat DR and 40% unpierceable DR plus 25 special flat DR. So if her enemy triggers their special, then Brave Baldr is basically taking 0 damage because of her crazy amounts of flat DR, and she can tank the legendary Black Knight. That's how crazy this unit is. So basically, no far saviors can survive Brave Baldr as long as Brave Baldr has her weapon triangle advantage against those units, and the enemy has exposure active. So Brave Baldr also gives triangle adept, and she herself gives out exposure on foes, and as I said, she has brave attacks if the foe has weapon triangle disadvantage or the foe has exposure active on them. And Brave Baldr also gets movement +1 at start of turn, and she gets no follow-up and cancel remaining minimum 1, as well as no guard, as well as no guard. So Brave Baldr has all the necessary tools for her to excel as a ranged nuke, and with her base kit, she can reliably and consistently kill the legendary Black Knight, who is the most annoying, or not annoying, but maybe not annoying, but for me it's quite annoying because the Black Knight cannot be killed by any ranged nukes in the game until Brave Baldr was released. So for now, Brave Baldr is the only unit that can kill the legendary Black Knight consistently without needing some crazy support from other allies. So Brave Baldr, as a ranged nuke, can defeat all enemy far saves that exist in the game as long as she gets some support. Like, she cannot be by herself, or else she does not get the no follow-up, etc., and she does not get all of her effects. But as long as there is an ally, like just give her Alphonse within 2 spaces, and she can get her start of turn bonuses like the no follow-up, etc., and she can kill the legendary Black Knight quite consistently, even with no support. And if you pair her up with some support, then she is almost always just going to kill all enemy far saves. So Brave Baldr can consistently do her job. And to add, because I said that her flat DR is based on whether she has weapon triangle advantage or not, and if she has weapon triangle disadvantage, then her flat DR really just goes down to maybe her. If she has weapon triangle disadvantage, then her flat DR goes from about 32 and it drops back to about 17. So she gets about like about 8 to she gets about 15 less flat DR if she has weapon triangle disadvantage. So she has a new style that makes her immune to weapon triangle disadvantage, because she gets a style that can make her into a green unit when during weapon triangle determination. So basically, if Brave Baldr has weapon triangle disadvantage, like for example she is going up against a green unit, then she can change into a green unit herself and then just ignore the weapon triangle disadvantage because of her style. So Brave Baldr can almost always just get her maximum flat DR, that is about 32 flat DR. So in other words, she is also tanking almost just a lot. She is tanking most units in the game, even melee nukes with her amount of flat DR. And as a ranged nuke, she can, with that amount of flat DR, she is destroying almost every unit in the game. So that's how crazy Brave Baldr is. And because she has the style built in her base kit, you have to remember that you do not put Lin Ring on Brave Baldr, or else Brave Baldr will lose both styles, because styles cancel each other out. So remember to not put Lin Ring on Baldr. And lastly, Brave Baldr also has a new special, as mentioned in my other posts. Her new special, Arc Rival, has 40% unpierceable DR as usual, and it also has guard. And if the unit who equips the special has weapon triangle advantage, then it gives the user double pre-empt pulse and inflicts double scout on foe. So her special is very good as long as the unit, and because her special is very good because it has 40% unpierceable DR, and it inflicts guard whether or not the unit has weapon triangle advantage. And the weapon triangle advantage condition is just a great addition to what effects that are already existing, such as the guard and the 40% unpierceable DR, and it also has the boosted damage based on 70% of either units or attack or foe's attack, as long as which one is higher. So in all in all, Brave Baldr is just a crazy OP range duke that can kill all existing far saves in the game. So Brave Baldr is the best Brave unit from this CYL. And thank you so much for watching till the end. And if you have any comments you would like to have, you can share your comments down below in the comments section. And thank you so much for watching, and subscribe to see more videos like this. Goodbye.